I'm with Ruppert the Educated Ape, and I think one of the first questions I should ask, could I call you Ruppert?
Of course, yes. Please do.
Ruppert, tell me about your education.
My education. Well, I started out at Eton in Oxford, and transferred over to Harvard after that for an advanced degree in noetology. And it was a wonderful course of studies. I was there for a period of 5 years in Cambridge. And after I graduated, I wasn't sure what to do with my fancy degree. I had a lot of options, and I met the gentleman who runs Dogtoon Media, and he said, "You should use this amazing knowledge you have to better mankind." And I thought, fantastic. And he's like, "Answer questions online." And I thought, sure, why not?
Why not? Can you tell me a little bit about this Dogtoon Media?
Certainly. It's a web production company, and they produce web series and web comics and podcasts and the like. And frankly, the best thing that they produce is my show. So I am the star, undisputed, of Dogtoon. There are many others that are that they have different shows and stuff, but I am the original star.
Okay. Well, let me ask you maybe an obvious question: is being an ape. I was wondering about your nutrition and your habits of eating. And are you a vegetarian, as in bananas, or do you do gourmet foods?
Gorillas are by nature vegetarian. They get all of their supplements, and indeed a good intake of their water from vegetation that they eat. I myself, as I become more worldly, I do tend to try different options, try different foods, so I can't say that I keep to a vegetarian diet exclusively. But I would say the majority of my diet is vegetarian in the traditional gorilla sense.
Well, talking about that a little bit, you must kind of be, to the rest of us, people must look at you as an alien.
Oh, I don't really feel alienated, as one might say. But I do realize that I am different, but I celebrate my differences. They are my strengths, and they are what I am. And I am very unapologetic about who I am and what I am, and people can accept that or they can move along. Especially with a web series, it's very easy. I'm not forcing myself on anyone. If they don't agree with what I am and what I represent, they don't have to click play. But people do, and I really enjoy that. I think that's a validation of my difference.
So, do you have any feelings for how other people, aliens, may be treated? People that are not of, let's say, this country?
Well, I mean, to look at it from a broad sense. Everyone comes to this country, myself included, in the hopes of finding something. There's something that they want, that they feel that they can get here. And the majority of people who come here who are viewed as aliens are looking for not a betterment of their lives, but for the next generation. And I think that that's something that's often overlooked. People aren't coming here and stealing jobs because they're greedy. I mean, they want a low-paying job that nobody who lives here wants, and they want that because they want their next generation to have a better life than they had. And I think that that's something that's often overlooked in the mainstream media, and something that I feel about. And obviously, I feel a certain amount of kinship, being myself an outsider, as you could say. So there is a certain kinship with people who are different, and I think that they, like myself, should celebrate their differences, and I feel that most of them do, in a wonderful and varied way.
Well, that brings up another subject. A lot of people don't like people that speak a foreign language, and to most people, hate must be a different type of language. Can you tell me about your communication?
Certainly. Those of you who watch the show know that I converse exclusively in English. That is the language of broadcast. That is the language of the media, and that is the language that I am portraying. But my producer, who is a chimpanzee for a number, I think our first entire year, maybe even into our second, he spoke to me in his native chimpanzee, and a language I completely understand. But after a while, I got to the point where I was like, well, we really should be conversing in English. because there were people who were just like, well, I can't understand what your producer's saying. You can, but I can't. And I was like, well, that is a bit insensitive to the viewer to have a conversation that they couldn't be part of. So we now 100% English all throughout the show, and it doesn't mean that we don't celebrate our own heritage. It just means that for the purposes of the show, English straight through.
Well, was it difficult? When did you learn English?
I learned English in England. I went to Eton and Oxford. Now I had my primary schooling there, and that was delightful.
What was that experience like?
Well, as you say, a bit of an outsider. I wouldn't say that I wasn't without being a little bit teased. I was the hairiest kid in school, and beyond that, I was a bit more bookwormish than most of the other students. I didn't get on with sports as well, and although I had an aptitude for football or soccer, mostly it was the prehensile toes that allowed me to just catch the ball. But beyond that, which it did give me a modicum of respite from teasing, but it was a little hard, a little bit of an outsider from another country coming to this country, that kind of thing. And then I did it again by coming over to Cambridge, and so that whole transitional period, it had become second nature to me at that point, and I had long stopped worrying about what other people were thinking and doing, what they thought of me, and now I just carry on my awesome self the way I see fit.
I do understand that you actually you got into politics a little bit. You did
yes.
run for mayor.
I ran for mayor. It was very interesting. I dabbled with it, and I learned a lot from it, honestly. I didn't win, as you can tell, because it didn't say Mayor Ruppert Cornelius underneath my headshot, I'm imagining. So it was a lesson in humility a bit. Especially since the person who did win has none of it. Not humble at all. So his gloating, which went on for days, oh good Lord, days, and it really did kind of, allow me to accept loss and understand, that you're not going to win at everything just because you're the most awesome person. And some people won't see that. Some people will side with the person who gives them money.
Well, how have you been able to socialize, or who do you socialize with? Is there a group, or do you?
There's I have a lot of friends. I travel to different events, different conventions, and I meet a lot of interesting people. Beyond that, I like to go out and enjoy myself a fair amount. Living in the North Shore of Massachusetts here, there's a lot of fantastic places to go. And, myself, the folks at Dogtoon, I guess I would call them all friends, colleagues, underlings, staff, or more appropriate words that come to mind, but I'll go ahead and say friend for all of them, because I do hang out with them a lot.
Tell me a little bit about, I did see you at some of the conventions, or should I say, the Connecticut.
ConnectiCon, yes. That was our most recent one. That's our biggest event of the year. This year, Dogtoon pulled out all the stops. There was myself, there was Rapture, there's the robot from their new show. He was interesting. Shipped him down in a crate. Funny story. Complained the whole way, honestly. But no, it was fun. We all packed in the car, and we all road tripped down, and we had a table set up. We had a whole bunch of different panels. Doug was on a panel with Doug Walker from That Guy with the Glasses and College Humor, and so it was just a really big and wonderful event for all of us. And I had my live show, which was, of course, the star event that Dogtoon was doing, and it went off really well. We've been posting up videos from the live show. And it was good. It was a very full house, especially we were going opposite College Humor, which I'm not going to lie, all false modesty aside, it's not really false, it's just, it's very false himself. But all false modesty aside, I was going up against College Humor, and I was sure that was the kiss of death. I was sure that, oh man, we're not going to get anybody in these seats. But we had a really good audience, and they were very, very interactive, which is always important because, I can stand up there and say, all right, ask me questions and I'll entertain you with these answers. And if nobody asks anything, that's going to be a really short show. So They were. I mean, I think someone tried to give a count, but it was over. I think at least over 100 questions answered in that period. So,
How did you get into that venue? I mean,
how did we get into Connecticut?
right?
Yeah. I let the folks at Dogtoon handle it all. Again, Star. So they find out, which events we're going to go to. They suss it all out. They deal with the convention heads and the security and the badges. I just drive down, or am driven down, and show up in my room and get myself ready and find out when my show is and do a little walkthrough, hand out some flyers, tell people about how awesome I am, and go and do my show and meet everybody at the pub afterwards. So that's really how my recollection of everything is. As far as all the nitty-gritty and the details, somebody else handles that.
Well, let me ask you about that. You going to the pub, is there a specific beverage that apes like more?
Well, I am, and it's going to be a lot of jokes about this. I do like a banana daiquiri. It's delicious. And but on hot days, we went down to Connecticut in July, so that was a nice hot day. But I also love a good ale. You can't live in England for any period of time and not know the wonders of ale. And I like to mix it up. I've recently discovered how much I enjoy mojitos. They are delicious.
Huh,
yes.
Interesting.
Yes, but then there's my go-to, which is a nice glass of cognac or port.
How about hobbies? Do you have any hobbies?
I try to keep busy. I've recently been experimenting with video games because when to make our show, we film it, and then the folks at Dogtoon edit it. And usually around Sunday night, the day before it's going to go live, I'm here, and we go over it. So we review the edit. So it's a lot of me over somebody's shoulder, and they're working, and I, sit down. Usually, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I'm usually Facebooking a little bit then. But to kind of while away the time, in the office, we have a large TV, and we play a little Xbox. So I've started to get a little bit good at Halo and other various shooter games. Portal, like Portal a lot. So that's been a bit of a hobby. Beyond that, reading. I like reading a lot. I'm a fan of movies, but obviously I like books better. So sometimes it's a bit of a quandary. But I think that's it keeps me busy. And then this show, which takes up a lot of my time, but I love doing it.
How can people see it? What are the what's the URL?
The URL is dogtoonmedia.com is where the website is itself, and then there's a little video drop down. We just redesigned the page. I love it. And a little video drop down, you can just choose Ask the Educated Ape, and it gives you a choice of the regular show, specials, and we've done several specials, and then live performances like the one from Connecticut. So you can kind of choose which one you want to see, and just roll through and watch any of them. If you're on the YouTube, we also have a YouTube channel. You can just search Ask the Ape or Dogtoon, and you can subscribe to us there. And a little secret, if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, you're the first to know when we post a new video. See, because we often will post it Sunday night, just before midnight, just kind of get the ball rolling. And then Monday morning, it's all up on the page, and you can go to Dogtoon, you can see it, and that's great. But if you're a subscriber, you know about it Sunday night.
Subscriber.
And it's not, and you have to be a subscriber because you can't just search it, because it's not in the search queue yet. So subscribers get a little extra there. Recently found that out.
Yeah. Remember that.
Yeah, so search it, Dogtoon, and there you have it.
Okay.
So that's where people can find it.
Now, let me ask you some more general questions. I'd like to get your opinion. You said you do watch television?
Yes.
Now, do you watch any of the news, quote-unquote, news programs?
I try to. I will watch them as long as I can before I get disheartened. Some of them just get so disheartening, and it's tough. It's very tough. And like most Americans, I think I get a majority of my news from The Daily Show. Beyond that, no, I do try to watch and stay informed, because I do feel like being informed is important. I feel like you can't weigh in on a decision unless you know all the different areas of it. The problem that I have is that some news programs get a little bit caught up in minutiae. The Olympics is going on, and watching the Olympics, and it's amazing. I mean, for those who haven't been watching it, the girls' gymnastics team, they should fight crime. All right, they are just amazing. And to have the top story on 2 or 3 news outlets be Gabby's hair. Was her hair bad? Or was she, she just did a floor routine that nobody else could. It was amazing. She did some ridiculous moves, and all of them were phenomenal, but she did so well. And to have the only story coming out of that be, was her hair good or not? Disheartening. Very disheartening. So, I do try to keep going back to them because I want to be informed, and if I want to laugh, well, then I watch Fox News.
Right. Well, I sometimes feel there's more information on the Daily Show that sometimes is on others.
As odd as it is, because the Daily Show to me is polarized. Like, Daily Show is the opposite Fox News, but unlike Fox News, the Daily Show does give a lot more information about it, and they actually fact check. So it's something where it's like, oh, I realize that I'm watching something that's very polarized to one aspect, but it's open to the idea that it could be wrong, and they actually will research, as opposed to, in my opinion, some entertainment news programs that call themselves news, where they'll just say whatever they feel like, and they've been caught multiple times just making stuff up. So that's kind of again disheartening. I guess the biggest joke is that the Daily Show is the major source of news for so many Americans, and they blatantly say they're an entertainment program. They're not news. They're entertainment. They're here to entertain you. They're here to be funny. They're here to enjoy. But they don't want you to be thinking that this is the only way to get news. You should go and do what they did and find all this other stuff and then realize how silly it is. The reverse of that, Fox News, is an entertainment show that wants you to think it's a news show. So it's interesting where people choose to get their information. But myself, I like NPR, and I like the BBC World News.
Talking about that, have you ever listened to the interviewer Terry Gross?
Terry Gross.
Yes.
On BBC or
on NPR.
On NPR, no, I haven't.
She does interviews. I was just wondering because she does in-depth. It says in-depth interviews, but is very kind to people regardless of whoever it is. So I'll just tell you, you may want to look for Terry Gross.
All right, then. I think I will. Thank you.
Have you ever watched the following program called the Colbert Report?
Yes, I have. Interesting show. And I will say that I like Stephen Colbert's show as much as I like his ice cream. It's delicious.
Do you like ice cream?
I do. I enjoy ice cream, and especially the Stephen Colbert ice cream is delicious. The show is good too, but I think everyone's making a big deal of the show when the ice cream is really what we should be focusing on. I think that's his greatest accomplishment as yet. I think that is his gift to humanity, and the show is just kind of a precursor. So that's just my opinion. Prove me wrong, Colbert.
Now, let me ask you a little bit about the social fabric of this country.
Sure.
Do you find that people are integrating, are becoming more accepting, or do you think it's going the other direction?
I think that no matter what, progress cannot be stopped. I think that socially, we are becoming more accepting. We're more accepting than the previous generation. We're dealing with, different, more. I don't want to say more evolved, because again that would be a little bit close on the nose. But different values and different sets that are based on the previous generation. And so, but the progress will always move forward. There's no way to stop it. So, in my opinion, yes, we are a lot more accepting the current climate with the issues of human rights for different individuals is no different than 40 years ago with the same kind of fight for human rights for a different set of people. And who knows, 40 years from now there may be another set of people, maybe Simian Americans, who are fighting for their rights, who felt that they were impeded. Who knows? But it's a case of, when I look at society as a whole, we are a lot more accepting, and I think that there is deep down in all of us the capacity for great compassion. And I think that it's when you get beyond the politics, beyond the rhetoric, beyond the narrow focus, and you realize that it's all about compassion. That if you are compassionate with another human being, then you are accepting of them. And you might not agree with them in all their regards, but you accept that they are a person, and they are given the same opportunity to express their opinion that you are. So I think that the more people really can take that away, the more our society as a whole becomes more accepting. And like I said, who knows, 40 years from now there might be a whole new debate that is derived from the fabric of the Constitution, and whatnot. But I do feel that as a whole, our society is growing more accepting, despite the fact that certain aspects of it, political and what have you, do become polarized. As a whole, I think that the problem is that the more the two sides pull away and become more extreme to one end or the other, they forget that there's people in the middle who are noticing. And the more they pull, the bigger the middle becomes.